folks, this is Monica Dybel coming at you from MJ Foods US Corner Kitchen. Today we're going to give you some tamale tips. We are actually making tamales, but I'm not going to discuss the flavor profile of the tamale. I'm going to discuss a few tips on how to roll and secure your bundle, okay? So what I have going right here is I have a packet of corn husks, and originally I had started them. You put them in a large bowl and you pour boiling hot water over the corn tamale or over the corn husk. It will take you about 3 teapots full for a bowl this size. I got interrupted, so they have been hydrated, and I put them into my refrigerator so that right now they are currently in cold water. The ties, you want to be able to use the corn husk. Some people use just one tie, and other people use twine. I know it depends upon what you have in your kitchen and where and how you get started. I personally like the double tie on it because it looks a little bit more like our Native Americans have prepared the tamale. What you want to do is you want to find a long corn husk, and you want to come into the corn husk a little bit, and you want to start to tear it right here at the top. And it works very simply. And what you want to do is just keep an even strength here and just pull it down. Each recipe of tamale makes about 24. So to have 2 ties on to secure each tamale, you're going to need 48. But because not everything is perfect in life, I usually start with about 75 ties because that many will break during the tying process. So if you do all your production at one time, you won't have to go back to it or be frustrated because you're trying to get done. Alrighty, so I have my ties started here, and I'm going to go ahead and go into the next segment. If you get a small tie, just set it aside. Alright, so I'm going to bring my ties up right over here, and this is a situation where when I cook, I do a lot of production work. I do all one situation, and I go back and do the next. But with doing tamales, you have to tie them. You can't do it like that. So what I'm doing is I've taken 2 corn husks and I've overlapped one on top of the other. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put my masa, my seasoned masa, down. And I like to do a double-decker, which makes it for an entree-size tamale. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put my chorizo and potato, black bean, and corn filling. I'm going to top it with a combination of white cheddar and cream cheese. This adds to the fat of the tamale. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put one more layer of masa on top. This gives people a tamale that has great amount of filling, and it's not pencil thin. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull this up on the end. And I'm going to go like this. Okay? You pull one of your ties, and you go here at the end. Sometimes you're able to see that, like that one broke, but that one's okay. You come back, and you do a top one here. Sometimes you're able to make a bow, sometimes you can't. Just tie it the best you can. But they look so beautiful with 2 ties on them, and they seem better that way. Alrighty, and then you just set them aside here. And you go through and you do each one. Sometimes you have to add a 3rd husk in the wrapping process, and I'd like to show that to you. It just depends upon the husk So we're going to start with the masa. And just pat it down. Some filling. Little cheese. The cheese I'm putting inside tamales because it adds as a layer of fat to keep the tamale moist. You go like this and like this. Now, in this situation, this is barely closing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back on this side like this on the seam and come up this way. And that's a 3-husk fold. And see, once again, not every tie is perfect. And by the time that you do 10 tamales is when you get your rhythm, where it becomes really simple. It should take probably about 45 minutes with an assistant to wrap and do 24 tamales. All right, so there you have it. You have two. You have one that's a 2-husk wrap. You have one that's a 3-husk wrap. Don't be afraid to add that extra husk so that when you put them in the steamer, you have a great steam, and you have the ability to have the masa be very even and not fall out the end. That's the worst thing you could do is have masa peeping out and seeping out through a seam. So don't be afraid to use 3-husk if you need to. The other way that people do it is they do a single roll, and those are called pencil thin tamales. But once again, I'm making entree size, and so that's what we're aiming for. So in the next segment, we're going to show you how to. Steam the tamales, and we'll be right back.